Hey, howdy everybody. Welcome to the first of my end of the year videos on the 2025 wrap up, basically, and everything that I heard in 2025 and what's the best of it, and like this video, what's the worst of it. Okay, so we've got this video, which is me going over the worst of 2025. Then I'm going to release the best songs I heard in 2025, and then the best albums of 2025. So stay tuned for those videos. Those will be out in the coming days. And after that, I will also have a video of the best albums that I heard in 2025 that are not from 2025. That one I haven't planned out yet because I have to go back through my channel and like look at all the albums I heard this year, which there's a lot, and there's a lot of peak in there. So that's going to take a while, but that will be coming after that, probably like middle of the month of January or like second week or something. I don't know, but we'll see. All right, let's get into this though. Let me preface this by saying, this is my opinion, and I have to say this because some people take opinions very, very seriously and as a personal offense sometimes. This is my opinion. This is my ranking that is just me and my tastes. If you like these albums, you should feel ashamed of yourself. I mean, you should not at all think that I hate you or anything. I mean, I might hate you, but it might not be for your album taste. But there are some albums in here that I know for sure that people like, and I just have to preface it with this because I don't want to seem like a contrarian, but I'm not just hating just to hate. I hate for reasons. So let's dive into this, I guess. Let's find out. So please don't be too upset if your favorite album is on this list. All right, so this is a list of my least favorite albums and EPs. I'm titling this video Worst Albums and EPs. That's like kind of an objective or a subjective stance, but you know, whatever. We could say worst, we could say least favorite. Least favorite sounds a little bit softer than worst, but you know, worst is funnier to rage bait. So worst albums and EPs of 2025, starting with number 20, the least worst one on this list. It is an EP that I heard this year from a band who I quite like. But unfortunately, the EP that they released this year was just not great. It didn't have the charm that some of their other releases that I've heard have is the word. Sorry. I'm particular about grammar. It doesn't have quite the charm that some of the other releases that I've heard from them have. It's just kind of bland. It needed to be longer. I wish they would have just waited and released an album. But I don't know. It's fun to get music from them, but like it just felt very bare bones, like very here. This is like the bare minimum of what you expect from us. And it just kind of disappointed me this year. And number 20 spot is Rollo Tomassi in the Echoes of All Dreams. The number 19 spot goes to an artist who I've never really loved and I've never really hated either. I've never gotten super into her discography, but this album, for some reason, I mean, I've liked some of her songs, but this album, for some reason, has really gotten on my nerves, and I don't know really what it is about it. Maybe you can figure it out if you listen to it, but something about it just feels like coworker music. If you catch my drift, there's something about it that's coworker music. There's like a lot of stuff in it that is just boring and it doesn't really do much, and the melodies just kind of aren't the best overall and stuff. It's not terrible. It's nothing I'm gonna lose sleep over, but it's just something that particularly bothered me a little bit more than a lot of other mediocre releases that I've heard this year, and that is Ali X, Happiness Is Going to Get You.
Mother has forgotten me, she calls me little Jane. Is anybody out there?
Number 18 is from a very popular artist who released an album this year, and I didn't think it was awful. I thought there was one good song, which, well, I guess you could say that's pretty bad if there's one good song. But the rest of the songs, like, I didn't think were too terrible. It was mostly the lyricism that was awful, and me not being someone to care a lot about lyrics unless they're really, really bad or offensive or something, then this didn't bother me as much, but it still is not a good album. And I'm only putting it this far back because I think it's funny to put this album here and then to say that all the albums after this are worse than this album. This is Taylor Swift, The Life of a Showgirl.
Everybody's so punk on the internet. Everyone's unbothered till they're not. Every joke's just trolling and memes. Good thing I like my friends canceled. I like 'em cooked in Gucci and in scandal. Like my whiskey sour.
The number 17 spot on this list is actually a paid request, and I kind of feel a little bit bad that I didn't like this. But it's just not my thing. It is harmonically too all over the place to be memorable. It is melodically too uninteresting to be catchy. Some of the atmosphere is kind of fun, but like the lyrical theming loses me. Just a lot about this album is just kind of like boring and forgettable. And sometimes boring and forgettable is worse than just straight up bad. Not all the time, but I wouldn't say it's worse than straight up bad here, but this album to me was just boring and forgettable, unfortunately. This is The World is a Beautiful Place and I'm No Longer Afraid to Die. What a band name. Dreams of Being Dust.
Celestial shipwrecks with corded foes. More than the mess. They diminish the state to a soul.
Tell me about the most coveted grave.
The number 16 spot goes to a band that I've always thought was mid. They made a song that I kind of liked back in the day. It is, I think, still probably maybe their most popular song. I don't know, but it was a song that I kind of liked when I was first discovering metal, and it was fun, but like it was a cover. I don't know if that helps you, but it was kind of fun. But ultimately, the rest of their stuff, their solo stuff that was not this cover, it's just been kind of mid. I haven't really liked any of it. And so I was expecting this new album to be mid, and it was. It was pretty bland and about what I expected. So, you know, when you expect something to be bad and it comes out and it is bad, it's not really surprising. So that's why it's not higher on the list, but that's about it. I Prevail, Violent Nature.
Like motherfucker with a violent nature. Motherfucker, fucking motherfucker, 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 motherfucker. So pull the skin back from my bones. Annihilate me. Annihilate me. Annihilate me. Rah. They mean nothing to us. That's not for no world order. Give me money, give me rage, give me power.
The number 15 spot goes to an album that I heard this year. Obviously, I need to stop saying that. An album that I heard this year. It goes to an album that tried to do something different with the Meshuggah formula. They tried to sound like Meshuggah and make it a little bit more, I don't know, what's the word? Like not as slow, I guess. Not that Meshuggah's slow, but you know, they like to sit in these groove pockets for a while, which is what I think makes them really fun. Now I have still only heard Catch 33 and a few other songs, so I need to listen to more Meshuggah, but these guys tried to kind of do the Meshuggah thing And it just didn't work for me. They needed to stay with the grooves more. They needed to just like milk things longer, really, is the biggest criticism, and make things more memorable. And I think just by nature of milking things, it would make it more memorable. Part of what makes Catch 33 such a masterpiece, and again, I'll talk about that in my best albums I heard in 2025. Part of what makes Catch 33 such a masterpiece is just the repetition of things. You get it so stuck in your head, but it's like constantly changing just a little bit, and it's so fun and it's so groovy. And that's kind of what turned me off about Catch 33 when I first listened to it, but as I listened to it more, it got better. This, when the album started, I was like, oh, this is really fun, and as it went on, it got worse. Limbo, Illicit. This number 14 album should not be a surprise to anybody that it is on this list. I just put it further up the list instead of in like a top 10 or something because I don't think it's particularly awful. I just think it is exactly what I expected, which is bland and boring and the same thing over and over again, which is pretty bad in my opinion. But look, I mean, if it's the same thing that I like, then it's not bad. But in this case, this is the same thing over and over again that I don't like. And I have heard specifically one other release that I'll talk about in my best of the year videos, but I've heard another release that did kind of what this thing was trying to do, or what it does, what this band is known for, but so much better in such a new and fresh and experimental way that hearing this, it just kind of puts this to shame. And this is just kind of bland and boring. And there really isn't much about it that I like at all. That could be said about all of the albums on this going forward, but I don't know, it's nah. Lorna Shore, I feel the Everblack festering within me. The number 13 spot, I want to talk about the Spotify artist bio for this first. And artist bios on Spotify are not anything to judge the band off of, but I just think it's really funny because the artist bio is kind of the opposite of what this album is. Band name, not going to say it yet, shape sound and feeling into an atmosphere where anything can happen at any moment. The band members temper thick guitar-driven grooves with entrancing electronics, ethereal keys, and evocative vocals. They like words to start with E. Simultaneously, death and romance become interchangeable, rotating around an axis of relatable emotional turbulence. And the album is extremely bland and forgettable and very, very standard and cookie cutter. So much for anything could happen at any moment when the album is like literally the most predictable thing ever in the world and extremely, unfortunately, catchy. I get parts of this album stuck in my head too much, and it's because it's so bad that I get it stuck in my head, which also sucks because I've heard it once and I still get it stuck in my head. But this is the perfect example of catchy does not always mean good. This is Dead Seven. Love what you can while you've got something left to love.
Kiss like a chainsaw. Yeah, you carved the words right out of me. You would let me break every bone in my body, 'cause you know that I'm a glutton for pain.
The number 12 spot is a band that has been hyped up for me, and other people I know really like this. And I heard a little bit of it. I heard one of their songs from a previous album that I thought was pretty decent. I heard it on a request stream. I can't remember if that was this year or last year, but it's been a long time since I've done a request stream. But anyway, I listened to this EP and I did not like it. It's way too slow. It takes its time way too much with atmosphere that is not worth taking your time on. And it just like the beginning of it, I think, is the strongest part, and then it just falls off after that. And everything after like the first track or maybe two kind of just like steep nosedive off the cliff into just boring territory. And I'm putting it higher on this list because higher meaning like closer to number 1 than further closer to number 20. I'm putting it there because it has maybe the worst ending to any EP I've ever heard in my life. And I think it's probably going to go into a second installment based on the name. You probably know what it is right now, but it just randomly harsh cuts off into just silence. Like just it's going and then it cut off. It's over. Hate that. Disgusting. This is Black Shape Prisoner 1. The number 11 spot goes to an album that was also hyped up for me, and unfortunately, I think it failed a lot. I think this is a band that is trying to be very, like, artsy, you could say, and avant-garde, perhaps, without really succeeding at any of it, and it just feels like chaos, and it doesn't hit. It doesn't feel like it does anything particularly well. They throw a lot of things at the wall, and you're left like trying to pick up the mess and gain any kind of cohesiveness throughout any of it. There are a couple songs that I think are good, but ultimately those couple songs were the only thing that were saving it from me giving this absolute dog water. That and kind of like the overall vibes, I guess, are fine. So this could be higher on the list, but I'm only putting it not in the top 10, just outside of the top 10, because I don't want people to get too mad at me. This is the Callous Daoboys. I Don't Want to See You in Heaven.
I just want the real cow. I am no better than the first one. I pretend to stutter. I can't recall your heartbeat in the speed. When I thought you were gone, I couldn't be more impressed. So you know something everyone else. You were so to this best.
All right, here we are. Top 10 worst albums of the year. Are you ready for this? Let's see how bad this gets. All right, number 10 goes to an album that I did not do a video on, but I heard because the album art, the cover looked so cool. It looked like it was dripping with vibes and atmosphere, and I put it on, and the album itself had none of those vibes and atmosphere, save for maybe like a couple minutes here or there throughout the album. But the actual songs themselves had none of that, and it was very disappointing, and I was just kind of let down. Also, the whole band, like in general as a whole, their sound kind of sounds like bootleg Invent Animate, which could be good because I think Invent Animate is kind of bad already as it is, but this is just taking bad and just doing more bad with adding little elements of stuff that could be good but aren't. This is Dreamwake: The Lost Years. The number 9 spot goes to a band that actually took my album of the year in 2023. I think it was 2023 it came out. But yeah, they actually took my album of the year. Now, I've since then heard albums from that year that are better than the album that they put out that year, but in that year, the album they put out that year was my favorite. And this year I was looking forward to it. The singles were pretty good. I was excited. I was ready to listen to it. And I didn't do a video on it. I can't remember why. I think I was just trying to catch up on albums, and for some reason I felt like I should just experience this album without doing a video on it. And I was severely let down. This is an album that does not hit the mark for me. The singles are the only good songs on it. Everything else is just bad. And I found out, I can't remember if it was either after or before I heard it, but I found out that there were apparently other outside songwriters that were hired to help with this album, and I think that did nothing but hurt it. And unfortunately, this album just is not good. This is The Devil Wears Prada, Flowers. The number 8 spot should be a surprise to not many people. If you know me and my history with this band, I think that this album is not, well, it's not the worst that I've heard from them, but I don't think it's quite the best. I've only heard 2 other albums from them. I really need to check out more. But those other 2 albums, one of them I have called like the worst album I've ever heard in my entire life. And I think that's a bit of an exaggeration. I do think it's like horrible, not good at all, but I don't think it's quite maybe the worst I've ever heard. But anyway, this one, it doesn't come close to that. It's not the worst thing I've ever heard in my entire life. It is just kind of more of the same of the other album that I heard from them. which is that it doesn't hit, but it's not offensive. It's just there, and I kind of listen to it, and it goes in one ear and out the other, and it's like they have a lot of technical skill and capability and prowess, but when it comes to the music itself, I think it sucks and it's not memorable. This is Between the Buried and Me, The Blue Nowhere. The number 7 spot goes to an album that, again, I don't think is awful, but it just does a lot of stuff over and over and over again, and it's the same kind of like musical gimmicks throughout, and it's just not memorable because it feels the same throughout. It feels overdone. This genre, I think I'm just getting sick and tired of, except, I mean, there was a release earlier this year that I have heard that I'll talk about. There are actually a couple of releases that were pretty good in this genre, but just this one was not one of them. It was not memorable. It's just bland and boring, and it's just something that I'm probably never going to think of again. And I don't really have... Oh my gosh, I can't talk. I don't really have too much else to say about it, other than it's boring and I didn't like it. This is Signs of the Swarm, To Rid Myself of Truth. The number 6 spot is kind of similar to the number 7 spot, but it unfortunately has the like, what's the word? It tries too hard, I guess you could say. It tries way too hard, and it just comes across as just heavy for the sake of heavy, and again, just not memorable, just annoying, and like annoyingly heavy. Not heavy where you're like, oh man, just heavy like, oh my gosh, like here we go, oh breakdown, okay, whatever. It's like that. It's unimpressively heavy. It's just like, why are we doing this again? It's just too heavy. Not too heavy. Not that too heavy is bad. I'm saying all this wrong, but it's heavy and boring. This is Psycho Frame. Salvation Laughs in the Face of a Grieving Mother. The number 5 spot goes to a band that I actually haven't heard since like end of high school, beginning of college, like mid 2010s. And coming back to them and listening to this album, I haven't listened to them in a long time, but they sound nothing like they used to. And the cool sound that they had back in the day is just completely gone, and it's replaced with standard, average, everyday metalcore, bland, yucky blah. It's stupid. They've lost all identity, and this album is just extremely disappointing. Again, I missed a big time gap in there, so maybe, people got used to this sound from them, but it just sounds nothing like their older albums, and it's just bad. This is Born of Osiris, Through Shadows. The number 4 spot goes to an EP that you probably knew was going to be on this. This is from a band that I kind of like, and a band that I also really don't like, except for maybe 1 or 2 songs. You know what it is. It's a collab. I've spoiled it already. You know what it is. Unfortunately, this just takes the worst elements of both of those bands and combines it into something that is extremely forgettable and just more of the same, and just like not good at all. There's barely anything that is good about this, and the parts that are good are like small little segments in the second track, and that's it. This is Invent Animate and Silent Planet, Bloom in Heaven. All right, here we go. Top 3. These are my 3 least favorite, or you could say worst albums of 2025. These are all albums that I have seen people talk about as being album of the year, which is kind of insane to me. But hey, just gonna say, everybody has different tastes and different preferences. These are not mine. The number 3 spot goes to a band that I have not gotten into really, but I've heard maybe 2 of their other songs, and I did not like them. I forget what album they were from, or even like when I heard them, but they were from reaction channels back in the day before I started my reaction channel, kind of in the era of like Truant and like shortly after he left the reaction scene, if you've been around that long. But this band is one that just kind of has never really hit for me. And this album especially, I think, is just trash. It is not good. It's musically bad. It's got so many like trying not to take themselves seriously kind of thing, but it just comes off as extremely cringe. And the lyricism is awful. This is what I mean by like lyrics don't bother me unless they're bad. These lyrics are bad. Oh my gosh, dude, they are so bad. Especially in one song where they write about like their haters or something. Wow, maybe contender for like worst lyrics ever written ever. It's really bad. Overall, just like embarrassingly bad and boring. and bland. And here's the breakdown again, and whatever. It's Architects, The Sky, the Earth, and all between.
Is the world done fucking around? We bow to the crown. Like choking up the ocean. Don't set me up, 'cause I know myself. I can spend a lifetime skipping over lemons. Rain, rain, go away. Leave me in binary. Rain, rain, go away. Leave me in binary. They say it's okay. Only ever love you when you see it red. Leave me on my rights. I'll never grow tired of your great advice. Won't somebody tell me? No death's alive, I don't give a fuck. My head, my heart wouldn't be enough. Oh yeah, me now. Red free, living on. R.I.P.
The number 2 spot goes to a band that I've not had much exposure to, and I've heard that one of their previous albums is better than this, apparently, people say, or like they'll say that I like it. I will like it more. However, if it sounds anything like this, I don't know if I want to listen to it, but we'll see. Maybe I will this year. We'll figure that out later. But this album is just plain boring. This is like extremely boring, the album. That's the alternate title. Extremely boring, the album. It is not good. It is not fun. It is bland. The only redeeming quality that this whole thing has is that the last song is kind of good. It's got a few redeeming qualities, I guess. And I want to kind of defend this a little bit because I'm like trashing this album so hard. The last song is pretty decent. It's not terrible. The overall album has some parts that are kind of interesting. Like little sections here and there where you're like, oh, a song intro, like sounds kind of good. And then the song gets going and it falls apart. Another thing, there is like some element of this that feels like it's missing. Feels like it's missing something big. And if I put this on, I put this on in the car on a drive home from work one day, and I was listening to it, and I started going like, these chords are kind of fun, but there's like nothing melodically over the chords to really make it good at all. Like the chords on their own can't stand and just be there and do nothing. It just feels empty. And so I started to sing. And so here's where my stupid self-absorbed music teacher-ness comes out. But I started to sing, and I started to kind of like make up my own melodies. I'm sorry, this is extremely cringe. Started to kind of make up my own melodies over the chords, and I actually liked it a lot more. But on its own, by itself, I don't like this album. It's extremely boring. The drumming is by far the worst part. It makes the whole album have this feeling of monotony by these just insanely repetitive drum patterns over and over again. I don't like it. I think it's just straight up bad. Just from how boring it is. This is Deaf Heaven, or as I have called them so many times, Deaf Haven. I didn't even realize until like a month after I did the reaction that it was Deaf Heaven, not Deaf Haven. Lonely People with Power. we've made it to the number one worst album of the year. Again, this is just my opinion, but this was a bad one. This one was all around just a terrible album. And unfortunately, it comes from a band that I actually kind of liked before this. They put out 2 albums that were really, really good. They were super solid. They were starting to push the boundaries of the genre. They were doing some interesting things. They were branching out. They had some really memorable songs. A lot of the songs on each of the albums, I like the earlier of the 2 albums better than the later one. But there were songs on both of them that stuck out as highlights and were interesting, and the songs had individual identity. And then they show up this year and they put out this album, and it is just like, it's lyrically terrible, it is musically terrible, it is extremely forgettable, it is just the same thing over and over and over again. And after listening to the album, it's really hard to even tell what songs are which. If you just go to a random song, you're like, what song is this? It's hard to even tell because it's just the same thing over and over again. And other than maybe the lead vocalist saying the song title, it's really hard to tell which song is which. Now, I also haven't listened to it extensively, but I have no desire to listen to it extensively because it takes everything that this band was doing right, and it takes the direction that they were moving in, and it just throws it in the toilet. And honestly, if this album just came out in a vacuum, I probably would not rank it this low. But the fact that this band was doing something so incredible and they were writing such great music, and then they turn around and they write something like this, it's just extremely disappointing. And honestly, just makes me sad for the future of whatever they're going to have after this. The number one worst album that I heard this year is Whitechapel, Hymns and Dissonance.
I bear the number 666.
And that's my ranking. What do you think? Let me know. What are your worst albums that released this year? And how wrong am I? I hope I've rage baited successfully. Although, is it really rage bait if I mean every word I say? It's just me expressing my opinion in a way to bait people, but like, can you really call it bait? Because like, I'm not joking about any of this. Like, it's genuinely how I feel about this music. People are like, rage bait. Well, maybe, but I'm also completely serious. Anyway, let me know what you thought. Are there any of these albums that I've said that you really enjoyed? Let me know. And stay tuned for my best of the year videos. Everything after this should be way more positive. So get the worst stuff out of the way first. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.